as we bring you this tournament throughout the course of the weekend. Hello and welcome to coverage of the Super Sunday Series here from Renton, Washington. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Bueller, and we are underway. Fernando Roldan on the right-hand side of your screen. He hails from Veracruz, Mexico.
Yeah, two-time Mexican national champion.
All right, so he runs the ship down there, it seems. Aziz Rifat on the other side is from Jakarta, Indonesia. And we are looking here at Born of the Gods draft. So we've got Born of the Gods and two Theros packs. The players have recently finished the draft, built their decks, and they are underway. And
three color, no problem for Aziz Rifat.
Right on turn 3.
Plains Island
full,
Swamp.
Full Espertron set up for him there. He's got a Springleaf Drum as well, and now a Blood Toll Harpy to go against, the opposite. Although there's an island now for Fernando. So let's see what he has for 4 mana. Format shaken up a bit by the Born of the Gods booster pack that's been added. Wow, he is starting off in big fashion here. Yeah. And there is a tribute cost being paid here. Or maybe not. We're going to find out in a minute. This is the Flame-Wreathed Phoenix. So it's either going to be a 5/5 with flying, or it's going to be a 3/3 flying with haste that has, when this creature dies, return it to its owner's hand. True. And it looks like he's decided to let it be just a 3/3 here.
3/3 haste?
Maybe not. Yeah, it does gain haste. But he just decided not to attack with it. It looks like he wants to try to keep it back to keep the Blood Toll Harpy in check.
A lot of people reading a lot of cards today. I think that's what we will expect.
Yeah.
So Rifat is interesting in that we had to put him on the stream because he named his daughter Ravnica.
that is awesome.
New coverage rule. If you name your kid after a Magic set, you get on the stream.
I kind of like that name, too. I've never thought of it as like a name like that, but it's pretty nice.
Dragon Mantle. Draw card. So these guys qualified to come, all expenses paid trip here. We're at the Wizards of the Coast headquarters. We're sort of set up on the first floor. We're in a conference room. They're in a conference room next door. Everybody has gotten badges to get into the building here, which is kind of cool. Attacking with his fire-breathing flyer.
He's going to pump a couple of mana into it. Rifat, he's got a Black Oak of Odunos on his side. Not going to do much here. It's an 0/5 defender for 3. He can pay black mana and tap another untapped creature he controls to give it +1/+1. So a nice way to keep the ground locked up, but unfortunately he's facing, well, basically a dragon at this point.
Yeah, basically. And Lightning Strike took down the Blood Toil Harpy.
Okay. So Fernando pretty concerned about that Harpy.
Yeah. He chose not to attack with his 3/3 haster last turn.
Yeah.
And now just
and then also
main
uses
phase takes it down with a Lightning
premium
Strike.
removal spell on it. So interesting that he was so concerned about it when he's clearly ahead on the race, although Grey Merchant might have something to say about that. There's a 3-point plus for Aziz, and Fernando's going to lose 3 life here as well. No attack for Aziz. He's got a couple of cards that just aren't doing anything right now. The Oak and also the Springleaf Drum are just sort of blanks on this board currently. And Fernando plays in a Mountain main phase, and it's going to start crashing in there. Now only 1 pump indicates that he's got 5 mana to spend somewhere else. What is it going to be on? Wow. Wild Celebrants is actually going to hit a target here.
Springleaf Drum.
Yeah, it's going to blow up a Springleaf Drum.
Celebrants go up in value with the Springleaf Drums floating around.
It does
everywhere.
feel, especially with the tapping equipment, that's going to be, I think, a pretty big player down the line, and being able to blow that up is nice. But in the meantime, Fernando gets a 5/3 and a second Black Oak of Odunos here.
0/5. He's got the swamp that he needs to pump it up and be able to block a Celebrants. But none of this deals with the dragon-like thing on the other side.
No, that's really, right now this whole game is sort of warped around that Phoenix with the Dragon Mantle on it. And I think that Fernando's going to need...
You just attack for 7
I
here,
think
right?
you just start killing your opponent. Like,
We should play
he wants to cast a spell?
Sure.
or bestow, maybe?
Yeah, I think this is
more eggs into that basket?
Yeah. I think this is the unblockable bestow here.
Oh, Celebrants goes to unblockable?
Yeah, I like that.
Wow. 6, 7, 8, 9.
Flitter,
and he can
flitter
fire
step
the
Eidolon. Yeah, so that's 6 power, and then 9 in the air, plus another one is 10. And that's going to put Aziz dead to 2 different threats next turn.
Yep.
He's got to deal with both.
Both of them. Either one can kill him.
Yeah.
Now that totally works out. That does seem like a better use of mana than just fire breathing.
Yeah.
Because now either threat can finish him off next turn. And
Yep.
yeah.
That's going to do it.
Scoops him up.
Yeah, Fernando Roldan pretty convincingly beats his opponent there.
Yeah,
uses
big fire.
removal in an interesting way, but ultimately had a nice game plan there to make his 5/3
Wanted to control the
unblockable.
air. So Roldan qualified for this event at Grand Prix Houston.
Okay.
So while Shahar Senhar was busy winning the main event at Grand Prix Houston, over in the side events area, Fernando was winning the Sunday Super Series.
I see.
These happen basically every single Grand Prix. You go to the Grand Prix, you're hoping to make your day 2, you're hoping to win the Grand Prix.
Sure.
But you know what? If you don't make day 2, there's going to be a Sunday Super Series. And so every Grand Prix, every Sunday, there's 1 seat at the Super Series Championship, the Super Sunday Series Championship. So here we are. Fernando Roldan won his at Grand Prix Houston. Usually what will happen is there'll be a sealed flight and then there'll be a standard flight. The top 4 from each of those play a draft where the winner gets the trip. And so it's a pretty sweet prize, right? You qualify to fly to Renton, Washington. We're here basically just south of Seattle. We're at the WotC headquarters. Everybody gets put up in a hotel next door. And there's $20,000 in prize money for, 1 seat per Grand Prix. I think there were, low 40s in terms of the number of qualifiers.
Right.
It's actually 39 people here playing for $20,000.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really high high value tournament, as we would say.
Definitely.
A lot of EV floating around over here.
And so this is the championship for 2013, but the 2014 Super Sunday Series has already started qualifications. So every GP, there's 1 spot. Ipan Rufat on the other side of the table, he won his spot at Grand Prix Bangkok.
Okay.
So
Nice.
each of these guys, somewhere out there on a Sunday, failed to make day 2. But it's funny, I was talking on Twitter, we're talking about how Reed Duke qualified for this event. Owen Turtenwald qualified for this event. You can actually see Owen playing on the B match. I'm sure we'll get him on camera a couple of times over the course of the weekend. Those guys, obviously they're excited to be here. There's a lot of prize money, but it also means there was some Grand Prix where they failed to make day 2.
Yeah.
Their buddy, we've talked about the Peach Garden Oak. Billy Jensen wanted to come play this tournament. Huey was kind of disappointed, but what it really means is that he kept making day 2s at Grand Prix.
He really did, too.
He didn't get to run any of the qualifiers because he kept making day 2.
Yeah. Poor Huey.
Exactly. He was too good.
Yeah.
You don't get to play this event.
Yeah, these Super Sunday Series was something that was concocted by the tournament organizers. And interestingly, if you're from North America, you'll know that it's very regional. Tournament organizers will usually run tournaments in certain regions where they sort of hold court. And they all got together to work out the details. Because remember, if you're going to have a specific type of tournament on day 2 of every Grand Prix,
You need everybody on board.
Everybody's got to be on board. So kudos to them for working out all the details needed to make this tournament come together. And I think that next year, meaning this year, 2014, is going to be even bigger for Super Sunday Series, especially after people watch this and see what kind of value these guys are getting. I mean, this is a great tournament. 40-person tournament with a $20,000 prize pool. That's insane.
$6,000 for first.
Yeah.
Top 16 split the cash. Everybody walks away with at least a box.
Yeah, everybody here is getting a box of at least a box of Born of the Gods, which is kind of cool. All right, interesting. Aziz, he must not have too many options because you got to figure he can't be too excited to keep that the oak in there.
Well, it depends how much inspired he's got. Like he's got 2 different inspired enablers. That's what I look at his board. I'm like, he can tap his guys. Doesn't have to attack with them. The turn they come down, any inspired guys, and that he makes a mana there.
Oh man,
hello.
Prophet of Crewfix here.
Wow.
And this is going to get out of hand pretty quickly.
Sure. Quite possibly. Yeah, Springleaf Drum gave him the blue mana he needed. Is he 5-color? We saw white mana in game 1, didn't we? We do not have deck lists, by the way.
We did see white mana.
Yeah, so we've seen at least 4 colors from him.
This could get interesting.
Sure.
Another funny thing about this particular matchup is both of these players are lawyers in their day jobs. So we could see some rules lawyering here for sure. Thankfully, we have some great judges over there.
Funny.
Watching over everything. Nick Fong, if you've been to a Grand Prix, you may have seen him, or even at the Pro Tour, as the scorekeeper. He's being the head judge for this. He's a level 3.
Yeah, Roldan, 28, from Zalapa, Veracruz, Mexico. 2-time Mexican national champion mentioned previously.
Now, Aziz didn't play anything. indicating that he probably didn't have anything, right?
Yeah, Profit's not as good if you fail to
Yeah.
take advantage of all the freshly untapped mana.
Right, a 2/3 for 5, no evasion is definitely not amazing. But
Yeah.
he did just play
Plays the Scryland.
Scryland, yeah,
Which
Temple
then
of Mysteries.
untaps on Roldan's turn, so.
Right, and maybe finds him some more action. So let's see what
Sixth mana,
Roldan
too.
comes up with.
That's relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks. I see 2 land and a gold card in Rifat's hand.
Yeah, he's got a.
And Celebrants gets
there's
the
Celebrants
Springwood
again.
Drum again.
Yeah, he's got a Shipwreck Singer in his hand, and he should be playing it here. There it is.
Pretty good ground defense.
And I think he's found a Unicorn here as well. So not really a lot going on. I mean, I gotta say, Aziz's deck seems pretty sketchy. His mana base looks.
I mean, 5-color decks will do that, right? You've got super bombs, but then you've got to have a bunch of mana enablers, so sometimes you just get flooded. Cause
Yeah, so I think the difference between what you and I are saying is that I think 5-color decks are sketchy.
Okay,
And
that's
you're like,
fine.
well, it's a 5-color deck. I'm like, yeah, it's a 5-color deck. Like this.
I think of them as inconsistent.
Yeah,
They're not
that's what I mean
inherently
by
sketchy,
sketchy,
but I mean,
yeah.
if you draw the right amount of fixing and bombs, then they're the most powerful decks in the format.
Yeah, that's how I define sketchy. What else would you? The inconsistent, definitely. Now, I'm curious to see what bombs he is playing, though. Right? It seems like he's base black.
Yeah.
He's got some really defensive creatures with those oaks down there. Ooh, Sea God's Revenge. Although, yeah, no, that does work. He's not going to be able to flash anything in. Yeah.
Wow.
He can float
Rifat
mana
had
and do nothing. He can flash in this Unicorn.
Might as
And
well.
It can, yeah,
No
hey,
reason not
it
to.
can jump in front of the Wild Celebrants, or if he really thinks he needs the mana, he can keep it. I mean, he should be able to add back to his board almost immediately, right?
Right, but Roldan's going to get a nice hit in and a scry.
That's right.
Leaves the card on top. That's
All right. So those go back to his hand. Next turn, he's going to be able to replay the Prophet of Crufix, untap his stuff, and then play both of his other creatures on Fernando's turn, assuming
yeah,
that the
but
Prophet
this is a
survives.
nice attack phase for Roldan. Gets
So-
a big chunk of damage.
Yeah, he got in for 8. I'm surprised Aziz didn't just block.
You would have chunked his
I
unicorn there.
think so. I mean, he's got unless there's a color that he needs, and we have seen white
Yeah.
out of him, so he could be concerned about that. All right, there's Prophet. Yeah, you might as
Harpy
well.
might come down?
Yeah, looks like a Harpy. Might as well.
No reason not to.
Whoa, what's going
I
on
mean,
here?
did he tap wrong?
Not really. He
that's
gets to
fine.
untap everything.
Exactly.
Okay, he's just going to play the Oak and say go, untap. And so his board state's going to be back in business here, but Fernando did get a big hit in there, like you said, Randy. That was 8 damage, and when you're talking about Flitter Step Eidolon floating around and any number of burn spells, and there it is, Flitter Step
Eidolon.
Where have we seen this before? Yeah, that's going to get in, too.
Yeah, when I first looked at the spoiler, I was like, 6 mana? Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to pay 6 mana for this?
Uh-huh.
I wasn't sure. It
And
has
now it's a
looked good here.
2-turn clock here. Yeah.
It has looked great in this match.
It certainly has. Again, ooh.
Yeah,
Goes down to
Harpy.
5. It gets nothing out of there.
Basically, he needs an answer to the
Yes.
the unblockable 6-power Celebrants.
He's got to find something on this draw step.
Yep. What was that?
I didn't see what that was.
Was it Retraction Helix?
It could have been. Which would definitely fit the bill here. He's going to start things off with an attack.
Well, those guys get down tap anyways.
Yeah. So there's that.
It's funny.
Oh,
The
ships a turn
Harpy
back.
means that the Shipwreck Singer's not good enough to... If he hadn't played Harpy, he could have Shipwreck Singered to buy a turn.
You're right.
Go.
Which doesn't matter if that really is Retraction Helix. Oh, jeez.
All right, Fate Foretold on Wavecrash Triton, tapping down Shipwreck Singer. Of course, he's going to be drawing a card here as well, potentially. All right, he's going to activate the ability, but it doesn't actually work.
There are no attackers right now.
Right. And it won't affect this attack.
All right. Kill you?
Kill you. Question mark on the stack.
No blocks.
All right, there's a retraction helix. So he's going to bounce back the the wild celebrants, meaning that he takes no damage this turn and leaves Fernando with just the one. The only thing that can really reliably attack is the 1/1 unblockable.
And this wild celebrants is going to keep doing work. Now it's going to take down a unicorn.
It is. Interesting that Shipwreck Singer is going to be good once it finally gets to untap, which it will on Fernando's turn.
Oh, sure.
It won't untap on his next
Because
untap, but it will be essentially untapped. There's a Faragax Giant.
Okay, so
easy choice here.
You don't want to take 5 when you're at 5?
Do not take the 5. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a 5/5. So that's big. That matters for sure. And he's going to shift a turn back. So Shipwreck Singer doesn't untap now, but it will be untapped, and that'll be able to kill the Flitterstep Eidolon, which, at least prior to the Faragax Giants, was, you know, Fernando's win condition. So this is going to get close.
Yeah, Rifat's got a... He can chip away with the Harpy.
He needs some creatures here.
Yes.
Because, you know, he's got to deal with that Faragax Giant now.
I mean, the Oak can block it, right?
The Oak can block it, but it's going to get
Prophet
sketchy.
can block somebody, but yeah, he doesn't have enough to block just an Alpha Strike.
Exactly, and the problem is, of course, that Unicorn's going to be gone.
Also true. Which guy's that?
I think that's Sanguimancy, which would be 1, 2, 3 to put him to 2. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Now I'm
Wow, so he's going to go down to 2 life here.
So draw cards and lose life. It's basically Necro for your devotion to black.
That's right.
He has 3 devotion to black, so he gets to pay 3 life.
I think he drew a Read the Bones with it.
Oh,
Awkward.
jeez. Time to commit suicide. Go
Wow.
out.
I mean, go out on your own terms, maybe? So if Fernando plays his Wild Celebrants to kill the
unicorn,
the
then it's...
unicorn.
Well, it's still 4 attackers.
yeah,
And 4
and remember, the Shipwreck Singer will be active because he does get to actually untap it.
Yeah,
so
Prophet untapped it.
That's right. Now, of course, if Fernando can target his Wave Crash Triton again,
Yeah,
that'll do her.
Of course, he's got to live a little bit. He doesn't know Rafat blanked off the draw 3.
That's right. And with all that mana and 2 cards in hand, he's got to be a little sketchy,
Right.
a little sketched out.
So you play Celebrants and blow up the unicorn?
It
got
looks like
something
he's
else.
actually got the Giant here.
Huh.
And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's 1 mana away from paying the Monstrous on that.
Okay, so he's going to play a little slow. He's living in fear of all the cards that...
Well,
Rafat
so
just drew.
I don't know if you saw that, but Fernando's like, go. And Aziz is like, before attacks, I would like to kill your Flitterstep Eidolon and probably end up killing your... Does he have 2 blue? Yeah, he's got blue, so he's probably going to be able to kill the Spear Point Aureat as
Right,
well.
so he's activating Shipwreck Singer, which allows him to force creatures to attack.
That's right.
He's going to force the Eidolon to attack, and he's forcing a second creature to attack too, as well.
Yeah, and he should probably force the Wave Crash Triton to attack too, right? Because he can make that an 0/3. He could get a card off of it with Fate Foretold, but he can have it killed. Because he has enough mana to make 3 creatures attack and still activate his Shipwreck Singer for the -1/-1.
And that looks like exactly what he's
Yeah,
doing.
I like this because he gets to eat all of these.
Yeah, Shipwreck Singer is super powerful when you have a bunch of untap mana.
Yeah.
So Rafat forces those 3 creatures to attack. Roldan did not want to attack with him. Rafat can now line up blockers in front of
So
those
the
2.
Oak in front though. Oh, because he
can
has the 1
activate it.
mana from the
Unicorn.
Right.
All right, so Shipwreck Singer can now give all attackers -1/-1. That's enough to kill the Eidolon and shrink the other 2 guys. He's going to use black mana to activate the Oak.
Yeah, see, the problem is it doesn't work that way. He's got to pay 1 black per activation.
Oh, he thinks he can activate it
Yes,
multiple times?
he's trying to activate it multiple times.
Doesn't work.
This one dies.
So,
This one is
I mean, it's not a catastrophe. It just means that he doesn't actually kill off the Wave Crash Titan.
yeah,
the
it's
judges.
only 2, but it doesn't die.
but you've only paid 1 black.
He could have killed Wave Crash.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
he wasn't.
Just tap
Did he have a block to kill Wave Crash Titan?
Did he have to? What's that?
How should he have blocked?
Well, he could have put.
I mean, he can.
He could have put.
Oh, he
the
can mix it an
Unicorn in
0/3,
front
and then
of
he
it.
can pile. Yeah, he can pile the Unicorn, and the Harpy could have killed
Right.
it. Because it's an 0/3, thanks to the Shipwreck Singer's ability. He
So
can afford to
a
block with anything.
A misstep there for Aziz, but not a huge one. He doesn't lose any board presence because of it. Was
Right,
that
but
a
his
Grey
opponent
Merchant?
Ooh,
If
that'd be a
that's
good
a
one.
Gray Merchant, that's great, because that actually opens up the ability for him to cast that Read the Bones too and potentially get way ahead here. I mean, he's got to be concerned
The monstrous.
about the monstrous ability, which is huge.
It is a Gray Merchant.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, Roldan loses 5. Rafat gains 5. Now he's at a more comfortable feeling 7. But he still loses to land monstrous, right?
Well, I don't think so, because remember, Stone Shock only does non-flyers, right? It only falters non-flyers.
So it falters. Yes.
Right.
I don't know how many of our listeners were actually playing when falter
Good
was the
point.
card.
Yeah, I wasn't obviously, but yeah, it says creatures without flying your opponent's control can't block this turn. So he's got 2 flyers here that he can use to chump block.
Yep.
If it came down to that. So I don't think he's actually dead to Stone Shock. And it costs 8, which he looks like
Which he now
Fernando
has.
did find that land. Now this is going to be a very tight game here. Now he did not fire off that Read the Bones. Looks like he
I
wants
don't blame
to see
him.
if he's dead first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, being able to take 5, for example, on this board.
right. But the problem is, of course, that Fernando, he's going to be dead here, right? I mean, he's facing quite a bit of damage pretty quickly here. I don't know if he's like actually dead next turn, as Aziz only has 3 damage in the air.
He can force
But
attacks,
can he
though.
just jam the whole team in here and kill him? 1, 2.
Yeah, I think
3.
Aziz has this if he survives to his next turn.
Okay.
I mean, you have Prophet of Crew Fix, just Alpha Strike. Then they'll untap and block.
This is going to get really tight here for Fernando because he's
I mean, Aziz needs to force some attacks so that
Yes.
there aren't blockers available to stop his Alpha Strike, and that is precisely what's going on.
Right, and
And
he's
okay,
gonna-
Roldan realizes he's got to do this.
yeah, because that's going to take down both flyers.
Exactly. So by activating the Stone Shock Giant, Aziz is not allowed to block with his ground creatures. Now he's only allowed to block with the Harpy and the Shipwreck Singer. He's at 7. That guy's gigantic. He could take 5 and
He
keep
could
the
actually
Shipwreck
take,
Singer
he could take
alive.
4 here,
Right, because he can activate Shipwreck Singer. That's
Right.
probably the play.
and that does leave him Read the Bones mana open. I mean, look, it's going to be desperate.
All right, he activates the Shipwreck Singer. He says, I'll take 4. Harpy dies.
I'm at 3.
And now he has survived the Stone Shock Giant.
Yeah, unfortunately for Aziz, he doesn't quite have lethal here.
I was
Like, let's say the board stays the same, which it looks like it will. He can attack with all of his
2, 3,
creatures
4, 5,
at 2,
6.
3, 4 damage and not quite 5, right?
Yep.
So close.
The Oak's a defender, right? So drawing
That's
a creature
right.
doesn't help.
That's right.
Yeah,
this
Aziz
is-
can only get through for 4, and his opponent's on 5.
Yeah. but also Fernando doesn't have lethal anymore because that Stone Shock Giant, that monstrosity has been paid and it's done with. So now Aziz is in block mode again.
Time for Read the
There
Bones.
it is. Read the Bones. Go to 1. So scry 2. This is where Read the Bones really does shine, though. You see he squeezes pretty nicely there.
Bottom,
Both on
bottom.
the bottom. Draw 2. Land. Gray Merchant. Merchant is going to take
Off
down
the
game
top.
2. Wow.
Wow.
Man, he's awesome. He slowly slid that swamp out of the way and then slammed down Gray Merchant. So you see a very slight grin there for Aziz, but he's got to be happy about that. A little look to the side from him.
The second Gray Merchant.
It looks like our secondary feature match is
You said
already
his deck
over.
was sketchy. That looked great. How
was his-
powerful it was.
He goes down to 1.
Hey, it's only the last point of life that matters.
Yeah, that was that game defined sketchy for me, but he got there. Yeah, sketchy doesn't mean bad.
Sketchy for me is when you're like playing Loathsome Cobblepos or something.
Ah, okay, fair. See, I just call that bad. I don't think his deck's bad. I think it's sketchy.
Wow.
He's thinking about sideboarding here. I get, probably the world is his canvas as far as sideboard goes. He's 4-ish colors. I got to say though, I think that
I was so nervous.
based what we saw,
Play the first bounce.
He said he was nervous, and he said he misplayed something there.
Yeah, well, the Shipwreck Singer, though, he failed to kill the Wave Crash Titan on that one turn.
Right.
Turned out not to matter. But if Roldan had had a way to target his Wave Crash Titan, it could have mattered. Totally could have mattered.
Totally. I like Roldan's chances here. His deck seems consistent and powerful. That game was close, right? I mean, what was the big play? Finding the retraction helix, right? I mean,
he had to top deck that turn.
He doesn't find it right there. The game just ends, right? So it was about as close as it could get. I did like Aziz's position there late, though. I mean, he had really stabilized pretty nicely.
Yeah. I mean, he was drawing extra cards.
Yeah.
He got some life to play with off the first Gray Merchant. Yeah, that was close.
That was a nail biter, though, for sure. I think we're going to see no holds barred Magic for Fernando this time. 2-time Mexican national champion.
Yep.
And he looks like all business to me from this angle.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
Yeah, and Rafat, we asked him what his greatest Magic achievement was, and we mentioned this earlier, but the only thing he's got listed is naming my daughter Ravnica. Which is a pretty great achievement.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Rafat is from Indonesia. He's a lawyer in Jakarta. Been playing Magic for about 12 years. Prefers limited to constructed. Ravnica being his favorite limited format, but it's a good one.
He kind of has to say that, right? I mean,
yes, yeah, he probably does.
I guess I'll name my first child Innistrad Block. Sutcliffe.
I would have to go with Eldrazi.
Yeah,
Have my child rise up over the years.
All right, so Fernando starts off with an island, and there's a really nice start there for Aziz with a Temple of Mysteries to not only smooth out some things. I mean, he seems to be base blue-black with some aggressive splashing in there. And let's see.
He's got a profit. I don't even think we know what his white card is, right?
No. All right, Flitterstep Eidolon turn 2. Now, this is a much different look from what we've seen of it. We'll see it poke through for some damage, but the real key here is, does Fernando have a way to put more bestow creatures onto it? Because it acts as a really nice starting point for a huge bestow creature. It looks like he has no red mana so far. There's a Triton Fortune Hunter, unfortunately being currently blanked by return phalanx, though Triton Fortune Hunter can certainly generate advantage without attacking. Uh-oh. Shipwreck Singer for Aziz Rifat is not good news for Fernando, as that thing is going to absolutely take over this board quite quickly as well. So let's see what Fernando can do. He's in a bad position here. This is a really poor start for just the way that the cards seem to be matching up here. Aziz in nice control.
Is that Retraction Helix?
No, it's going to give it flying and draw a card.
That one, sorry.
But here's Retraction Helix.
They both have these like circle things in the art.
Yes, they do. All right, so there's a trigger still from Triton Fortune Hunter, but no card draw from the flying. So Triton Fortune Hunter back to his hand.
So he fizzles the enchantment, but he gets the card off of the Fortune Hunter.
That's right. And Fernando still no red mana, and also just no follow-up play here.
Wow.
So now Aziz says, land go. He has no reason to play any spells, as he has a dominating board position.
I would like you to attack with that Eidolon. Then I would like to give attackers -1/-1.
That's right. Now, this plan can get a little bit worse if Fernando can find a way to bestow something onto that so that it survives, but still, Aziz is in a pretty good position regardless. There's a mountain off the top for Fernando. Another thing he can do is play a mountain, burn out the Shipwreck Singer. You know, he can force it to attack, but again, you have to do that ability while there's actually attackers. You can't do the -1/-1 and then have attackers happen after that. So that could be a big draw. I know that he's got a Minotaur Skull Cleaver in hand, but I don't know if he has any other red. You know, anything like a Magma Jet, anything like that. Nope, doesn't look like it. And there it is. Spend my turn to kill your card and use no cards out of my hand to do it. And here comes the Triton Fortune Hunter again, but this is going to get sketchy too. There's a Fate Foretold. So he's trying to draw himself out of this mess by drawing 2 cards here. Seems like a reasonable plan because he knows that Triton Fortune Hunter isn't long for this world. Aziz can just make it run right into return phalanx. He's going to attack for 1 first, though, and play Prophet of Crucifix right on time.
Because Shipwreck Singer needs help.
Okay. Fernando he's got a mountain. He also found a Dragon Mantle,
Sure.
which can draw him some more cards.
Right?
Doesn't save the Fortune Hunter this turn, but I mean, he's going to have 1,000,000 cards in his hand. Remember, the Triton Fortune Hunter also has Fate Foretold on it.
Right.
So if and when it dies, well, he doesn't have to attack.
He will.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays a mountain. Can he fire breathe? Can he actually? He can't take anybody down in combat, can he?
No, he can't.
He'll be 2 power because he only can fire breathe once, and the Shipwreck Singer can give it -1.
Correct.
Yeah, so
It just
the
gets-
Phalanx just eats it. Which is still not a catastrophe since he gets the Fate Foretold card.
Right.
It's not good.
No. It is interesting, though.
He's got a grip full of cards. Do any of them do anything?
Yeah, that is the question. I mean,
He's got 7 cards in his hand.
Yeah, he's trying to decide. He's got that Minotaur Skull Cleaver. I think he has a Spear Point Oriad. He's a mana away from bestowing that. Oh, he does have a Lightning Strike now, though. So this gets interesting, though. Now he has 2 things he wants to kill. He'd love to kill that Prophet, though. You got to figure that with only a couple of cards left in Aziz's hand, maybe you just let it live. Maybe the damage has been done. I don't know. On the other side of the coin, he can kill Shipwreck Singer.
Yeah, killing Prophet is it's almost 3rd. I mean, if he kills the Shipwreck Singer pre-combat, then he won't be forced to attack with his Fortune Hunter.
That's right.
That seems like the way to play this to me.
Well, so the thing is, Aziz can still make it attack. He just can't shrink it.
Right.
Yeah, so he is doing that, though. And he is making it attack, and it's just going to get eaten by the return Phalanx.
Right, because now he doesn't have the mountain to fire breathe it. So.
That's right. I saw he's also got a Nyxborn Eidolon in his hand, too. End step, flash in a Blood Toll Harpy there for Aziz. And every draw step is scary, and there's one of the scariest. It's a Gray Merchant, and when you have Prophet of Crewfix, you know, you flash in Gray Merchants, and it changes combat a lot, as well as
Time to
life
attack
totals.
with the Phalanx.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Now
can
it's
attack with
free,
everybody.
You know?
They all untap. Prophet is so powerful.
Wow, this is just insane.
Jeez, he's
This
playing the
is
Harpy
insane.
main phase because he's got the Gray Merchant to play after he
right.
untaps.
That's right.
This deck is not sketchy.
No, see, now we're seeing what looks like a blue-black control list with a splash of green,
Yeah,
and I
that's-
like that a lot.
That's
I play that deck all the time. It was the,
but he
random
drew
planes.
any
that we
deck
saw.
that draws the bad parts is. Maybe he sided out the white. We still never saw what that planes was for.
Yeah. Okay. So here's Fernando, you know, trying to mount a comeback. He finds his flame-wreathed Phoenix, and there's a tribute, and Aziz says, sure, it's a 3/3, no problem. I mean, is Fernando dead here if he doesn't do anything else?
He doesn't know Gray Merchant's coming.
Right. That's going to be 5. It's going
5.
to put him at 5, and he's going to have essentially a hasty,
Yep.
you know, Gray Merchant here.
I mean,
as
the
well.
Alpha Strike is lethal right now.
Yeah. So something else needs to happen, and it's a Minotaur Skull Cleaver for Fernando. He passes a turn back. End step. Drain you for 5. I go to 21. You go to 5. And now it's not lethal. Actually, is it still lethal? It is still lethal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ship the turn.
Yep,
Yeah, because
yep, yep.
everybody's at least 2 power, so that's going to be a minimum of 6, and that's going to do it. Aziz Rifat takes down Fernando Roldan in round 1 here from the Super Sunday series from Renton. And yeah.